Welcome back to the Bet on Her podcast with Gina, Kelly, and myself, Dana. Today we have the honor of hosting a true powerhouse in the world of beach volleyball. She's not just an athlete, she's an inspiration both on and off the sand. Get ready to dive into the remarkable journey of Sarah Sponcil, a trailblazer whose determination and resilience have propelled her to the pinnacle of her sport. From challenges she's conquered to the goals she's set, join us as we uncover the personal and professional facets of Sarah's life. Welcome, Sarah, to the Bet on Her podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Welcome. I just want to say that I have loved, because I know the big news, right, is that you're going to go play indoor.
Yeah.
But I've loved all of the videos you've been posting, the little snippets of what it's going to be like with you back at indoor. So kind of like, I guess, how's training been in the switch?
Training's been amazing. I think, like indoor has been it was a big part of my life, and I haven't stepped on the indoor court since UCLA in 2017, so 6 years ago. But just training at Vibe and El Segundo, and just the cool opportunities that have really popped up in the last 3 months. I got invited to go down to Anaheim for a little bit in the USA gym. I haven't been in there in a hot second since my sophomore year of college, and just to be around the best athletes in the world in indoor was just a blessing to be invited, and I just miss it. I miss it so much. I didn't really realize that until I started, getting on the hardwood, but I just miss the team aspect, the people that I get to meet, the people that I have reconnected with over the last 3 months going to Phoenix and at Vibe. It's just, you guys all know the beach world's very small, but I think just volleyball in general, the sport's so small. And I just, have been reconnecting with people from, when I was 12 years old, back in Phoenix. Amanda Benson went to Oregon, and just seeing her at AU kill it. And it's just been amazing. It's just opened up a whole new world that I've closed off for 6 years of my life. And just to be able to revisit it has just brought me so much joy. Yeah.
So for listeners that don't know, kind of explain what Vibe is too, and maybe some of the transition or the toughest transitions that you've had to do, as far as on court skills and stuff, because obviously it's same but different,
Yeah. So Vibe is it's a gym in El Segundo, and it's not really like a club, but coaches can do privates there. So Fiapo, I know Fiapo from beach volleyball, and Leandro, who is my old coach, is there. So I don't know, I just kind of looked up on their little website. I'm like, who can give me a lesson? I feel really weird. I haven't been coached indoor volleyball in so long, and so I was like, Fiapo, can you help me out?
One-on-one.
He's like, what do you want? I'm like, I think I'm just gonna start with passing. I don't know, stay on the hardwood, because it's just jumping, everything's different. So I was working with him a little bit, and have been working with another guy named Steven. But it's just, you can go in there and get privates whenever you want. You can do privates if you want. So it's kind of a really cool concept. It's not like a club. So it's down the road. It's easy to get to. So.
What's been the most challenging?
What's most challenging? Yeah. I think the serve receive is probably the most challenging. I think it's hard because I don't know what position I'm playing yet. So I've been kind of training everything. But the ball's coming way faster than a beach volleyball. Your angles are just more important. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, but just the mentality behind it and moving on to the next play. It's the same as any other sport, letting things go, but just trying to give myself grace, because I haven't really seen that type of speed in a while, let alone just being 6-on-6. You don't see that speed on the beach. So it gets me excited. I'm a reactive player. I love defense because it's, quick. And so we were talking about it. Me and Kelly went to the UCLA Stanford game, and she's like, oh my gosh, it's so fast. I'm like, I love it. I love just those quick reaction plays. And so, it's been fun.
I think if I were to ever play indoor again, which I will not, but my hardest thing would be my knees, the knee pain, and then actually diving for a ball. because
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to dive you would just fall.
No,
'cause
but
you're
like,
you're not running after a high line
in
shot.
beach volleyball, you just literally flop on the sand and it doesn't
That's
hurt.
true. That's
Indoor, you
what
have
they
to
have.
learn how to dive properly without hurting yourself.
That's how you
that is
know,
true.
like the three of us are in our 30s because we just said,
Oh my,
our knees.
Harder for me to track the ball. When we were watching on Friday, I was like, wow, it seems so fast.
But the good thing is, like, you can pancake the ball. In beach, you
Yes.
can't pancake it.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you can't get there, you're like, at least I can get my,
yeah,
my hand
yeah,
over
that's
there.
true.
Well, what position do you think you want to play now that you've been training for a couple weeks now?
Gosh. I mean, at first it was libero. But I mean, I really love outside. I played outside 3 years at Layla Marymount, and I don't know. I just love being involved. And I mean, in beach volleyball, you're involved in every play. And so, when you're hitting, you can, hit out of the back row, you're passing, you're blocking, you're hitting. So I think I would love to play outside. I mean, I'm more of a shorter player, but I would love to get the shot at it.
Can I be honest? When I watched your reels and stuff, it brings me back to my indoor days long time ago. But it looks like so much fun that I was like, should I do like some sort of rec league and go back into
Yes.
indoor? I was a libero for a long time. I was also a setter,
Okay.
so that was my thing. And then I ruined my wrists, but
How did you ruin your...
gymnastics.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Tendinitis.
how did you ruin your
I-
wrist
yeah,
with
no.
volleyball?
Humbling.
I fell forward. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's gymnastics, but it looks like fun. It looks exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I train everything because I just want to be on the court. Wherever the coach needs me, I just want to see our team win and succeed. So that's why I train everything. Wherever you want me, I'll be there.
What about going back to kind of where your love for volleyball started? So how old were you when you started playing, and kind of do you have any figures or moments in your young career that inspired you to want to pursue volleyball at this level?
Yeah, I mean, I started really young. I started it sounds weird, but like 3 or 4 years old. I think my most vivid memories of me were passing outside my sister's kindergarten classroom with my dad, and he would have, the plush, volley light, toss it to me, shank it. I'd go run and get it on the basketball court, give it back to him. And that was just like the process. And I think I just, it was just me and my dad for a long time. And I just fell in love with it right away. I think, I was on my first club team at 6 or 7 years old, and my sister played, and it was just a family affair, we were just all involved. And I don't know, I think just, I think a lot of athletes say this, but when they have older siblings, there's something to strive for. So, going to my practices, I would just bounce over and go to my sister's practices, and, the level of play is a little bit better. And I think that, always pushed me, being in the gym and seeing the older girls, like how does it really look like to hit a hard ball? We can get it over the net at like 12 years old, but how is it supposed to look at the higher levels? And I was a gym rat from the very start. And I think being always playing up helped. And I think my parents just saw that I was, good at it. And I loved it. I loved just being in the gym all the time. And there was always something to work on.
And then did you always play beach too, or was that something that kind of fell into your lap? Or opportunities that presented itself later?
I started doing like beach tournaments. I mean, it was more like dirt court in Phoenix. We don't call that the beach.
The Dust Bowl.
Yeah. We all knew where not to dive because it was concrete. But yeah, like probably 9 years old is when I started getting out there. Like in the summers, they would have like 12s, 14s, 16s, 18s tournaments, and we'd just play all the divisions and see how well we would do. But yeah, that was like when that first started, and it was more of like a summer thing. You'd do middle school or high school, and then high school club, and then you do the summer ball. Now they all get into it at like, so
Yeah.
I think
crazy
things
now.
have changed in the beach world, many people played indoor and then they transitioned. So it's really cool to see how far beach has come, because some people are just committing like from day one, I'm just playing beach. So that's, a testimony to how the sport's growing.
Yeah. Do you think that it's better now that kids are specializing, or do you think that
we talked about this with Abby.
Yeah, I just want to get your perspective on or do you think that it's important for volleyball players to kind of get a taste of both?
I think it's I think it's good to do all sports. I mean, whether that's volleyball, whether that's beach volleyball. I think a lot of, this is just my opinion, I think a lot of parents are putting their kids and just specializing them so young that it's like they're doing privates at 8 years old, and by the time they get to high school, are they still going to like it? I mean, there's some, but I think just getting involved in basketball or softball or baseball or whatever it may be, you're letting your muscles and your mind react to different things. Like, you're just growing your body, like it's still developing. And I think we're getting a lot of athletes that are just good volleyball players. And I really like athletes that are like good at a lot of different things. I think that's just more entertaining for me. Like, so, and I think maybe, I don't know, like research wise, but maybe just you won't be as injury prone because like I have been in this position or that position doing all these other sports.
Yeah.
And you're strengthening muscles that you wouldn't strengthen just playing this one sport. So I personally, when I have kids, I'd like them to pursue everything, you know, and then maybe find, you know, fall in love with one. But I think it's good for the mind because, you know, they're kids.
Yeah, I think my perspective is specifically with indoor and beach. I feel like kids now that are just playing beach lose the discipline that indoor teaches. Beach is a little bit more like lackadaisical. You show up, stroll up to the beach, and maybe you show up right on time or a couple minutes late. But indoor, it was like if you weren't 15 minutes early, you were late. And I also think that indoor teaches very fine-tuned, skill-based aspects that can be lost a little bit in beach. So I feel like I think it's beneficial to at least play both for a little bit, just so you kind of get that discipline skill.
Can we do an indoor session one day? Like all of us just go and play.
Vibe. We'll make
and
an
get
appointment.
hurt?
I know. What do you want to do? Are your wrists okay? Or
Honestly, I will take the libero position.
I'm not jumping.
okay.
I will not jump. I will pass.
You can set.
I will set. Honestly, I should have been
You
a
don't have to
setter.
Hey, you got a natty at UCLA
Yeah,
doing
come on.
outside quite fine.
I was the glue girl. I just went wherever they needed me. I would play that position.
Hey, that's why you train
Well-rounded.
everything.
Well-rounded.
Well-rounded.
Yeah, I think versatility in athletes is super important.
Yeah.
It just teaches you, like you said, like to be in different movements. It kind of, you don't want to deal with burnout too. And I think a lot of kids kind of go through that. So the more sports you can play,
Yeah.
the better, I think.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on the discipline. I think it's I mean, just transitioning over now, it's like I want, like, I'm at the gym 20 minutes, I'm doing my warm up, and I mean, beach volleyball, we all know it has elements, but there's something that's really, you know, just being a gym rat through and through. It's like I love an empty gym. I love going and knowing like I'm gonna get really good reps today. Like, for a fact, you know, there's no sun, there's no wind, there's no cold. I know that when I step in there, like work is going to get done, you know, and that's just like who I am. I just love that, you know, especially just like scheduling wise, you know. I know.
I think you're inadvertently convincing beach volleyball players to play indoors because of those reasons.
we're just going to move it just in, you know, covered.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously you started playing indoor, went to the beach. Now you're going beach back to indoor. What's something from your beach, you know, career that you can now bring into the indoor aspect of it? Whether that could be like a mindset, skills, tactics, like what have you learned and what are you excited to implement playing?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, the biggest thing is like there's 2 people, now there's 6. So
Don't run into each other.
Yeah, and
Nobody's land.
And I think it just shows me that I can get everything. Obviously, things are going faster, and you only have a specific area of the court to cover. But I think it's just very interesting to see. I mean, I see indoor players that, you know, haven't played beach, and on the beach you're taught as a blocker to block and turn and get this ball. And I think that's the joy of playing both, is because I know that my blocker can turn and get this. And it's interesting to see a lot of people, like, their brains stop because they've been trained to just stop, like to block, and then hopefully someone else gets it. And I'm like, I guess there's, you know, systems that coaches teach, but I think that's just like the athlete that we can all bring out, is like sometimes our brain stops us from knowing like we can get these things, we can make these different plays. And I think beach allows me to see that, is like, oh, like, why don't you just turn and get this, you know? And I think there's little things like that I find very interesting. Is just as beach players, we're taught to just go after everything. And at some point we know that we can if we just go. And so I think that's one thing that I like to observe. But yeah, I think.
Yeah, and then mentally too, like you got to go with the USA team, you said. So what was it like training with them? And then how have you applied what you've learned there into your training now to then prep for the new year?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, I could just see like the routines that each of them have. I mean, they're, whether that's serving or passing, I feel like it was amazing just to go in there. I mean, sometimes I didn't even play. You know, I'm like, I'm at your service. Like, what do you want? Do you want me to just serve you balls? That's great. But I got to watch, Justine Wong and see like, what is she doing before the serve? What is she doing after? Is she relaxed? Is she kind of just what you were saying? It's very technical, it's and everyone has something different, and I think that's something that I've been figuring out as I've been going to Vibe and training with Athletes Unlimited, is like, what's my routine, because it's going to be different than theirs. But yeah, I think that's something that and just I think that the team aspect too, I think that's just like what I love, that we can talk more about. But yeah
what about like so I guess before we get into the team stuff, I really want to learn more about kind of your goal setting and how you've implemented short-term and long-term goals. And maybe let's start with kind of your road to the Olympics, and then kind of now how your goals are shifting, obviously making this transition.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important for like young listeners now too to know the importance of just not long-term goals. Like, you want to go to the Olympics, you attained it, but like what it took to get there, and kind of the other goals that were that you had in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think goals are interesting. I think going to the Olympics, that was my biggest dream in my entire life, and I'm so happy that I got to go. It was an amazing experience, minus the COVID part. But yeah, I think after the Olympics, I've said it before, and that my mind, it was just like a high point, a very low point in my life, because my whole life I trained for this, and it wasn't really exactly what I thought it was going to be in terms of fulfillment. I think I was coming back on the plane ride back from Tokyo, and there was just feelings of like, I'm not enough, or that wasn't fulfilling. Why isn't that so fulfilling? And in terms of goals, I've shifted. I think I wouldn't say goals, but my priorities in my life have shifted greatly over the last year. And I think my mindset was always Olympics, next one. And I think we can all agree as beach players that sometimes there's we don't have time to relax. We don't have time to figure out, is this what we want to do? And you're just kind of on this wheel, and, certain things have popped up in the last year. I went to a lot of things. Like, I went to Kenya, and that was a massive perspective shift for me. I've traveled the world, and I've gone to amazing places, and Switzerland and all these, Brazil, and I love, playing there. But I've never traveled to a country to give back with the gifts that I have with sport, with my platform. And I came back from Kenya having so much joy from that one trip than I've ever had going to all these different countries to play volleyball. And that doesn't mean that I'm not thinking of that, but it was just, oh my gosh, like, it was just, you come back and you realize you have so much in life, and all these kids don't know what a ball is. And I can't explain how much perspective I got and joy. And so going through that trip and seeing what kind of traveling brings me joy, and priorities, things like my sister, she got married, she's having a kid, and I want to be in that kid's life. And, all these things are popping up in my head. And, I think traveling was just, I wanted to, there was something pulling me back home. Like, I wanted to be home. It was hard for me to go away. even when we were winning, even when we weren't doing well, it wasn't the results based, but I was like, I feel like I need to be home domestically to be part of my sister's life. And, things start shifting. Like, how can I create a career where I love to play volleyball? Can I play indoor? Can I play beach? And I think the Kenya trip also, I hadn't been around indoor volleyball in so long. And on the itinerary, they're like, hey, like the Kenya national team wants you to visit, to introduce yourself. And next thing I know, I'm like playing with them and I'm just experiencing this whole, new side of volleyball that I haven't tapped into in so long. And I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, these girls are having so much fun. And it just brought me so much joy. That whole trip just changed a lot of things for me. And I just kept thinking, I'm like, I am a futuristic thinker, which is good and bad, but I do want to settle down. I do want to have a family and be with my husband and not be traveling on the road for 5 weeks and 2 weeks. And some people want that. And I think I was just in the midst of trying to figure out how I can, if it's possible to do both or to what that looks like. Everyone has their own life path, but going to Kenya and seeing how much joy indoor gave me and seeing a potential opportunity at that moment of like, maybe I could go indoor. But when I stopped, I had no plan B. Like, I sat there for 2 weeks doing like lifting and that was it. But I didn't know my next steps and it's scary. My parents didn't talk to me for a couple of days and, it's scary, but I just knew he was with me. I knew he was going to tell me what to do. And next thing I knew, like we go, indoor opportunities and all that. So I'm just trying to create a life here domestically. I want to be with my family. I've been away for 10 years. My sister just had her kid 2 or 3 days ago.
Congrats,
Yeah.
sister.
Thank you.
Oh, she's listening to that.
Yeah. So, I am so excited to see what this new adventure has for me, and not just like kill it on the court, but I'm excited to meet and be around new people and be around teammates and see just how I can lift others up around me. I think that's just what's fun about the team is like we're all different and how can we get the best out of each one of us and lift the trophy up together at the end. I think that's so special. So I don't have a concrete goal right now, but I do know family is important to me. My faith is important to me. And if I can make a career here domestically and maybe go internationally here and there, but those are what are important.
Yeah. And I think a lot of players right now are starting to look at these opportunities as well and be like, wow, maybe I can shift my priorities here too.
Yeah.
And pursue something that could be, potentially something big or, with more money and more opportunities and obviously more opportunities with having a team of you need at least 6 on the court. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Cue Pro Volleyball Federation.
So then I want to ask, why Pro Volleyball Federation?
Also, why not San Diego? Carrie wants to know. Everybody wants to know.
She sent me a text message.
I know.
that I won't repeat what the first 2 words were.
I heard that.
I'm, to be quite honest with you, I don't know what Love is doing. Love or League One. Is that Love?
League One? Yeah.
I think they like to be called Love.
Sorry, Love.
Either one.
What do they like? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know much about PVF other than the fact that, when we were at AVP Atlanta, I was heading home and they had just announced their
team,
their team and their logo. And I happened to be just chilling at the airport and I came across one of the girls that was on the team and we talked for like an hour and a half and she was explaining what it was about and, that there's 7 teams, but I really didn't know much about it. And, my mind just, after these 2 weeks of praying, I'm like I don't know, PVF just came to my mind. And, Carrie was amazing and gracious to help me get contacts. And I just started cold calling. I was so nervous. I'm like, hey, I haven't played in 6 years. is this something that you would consider me to do, all this stuff. And but yeah, I mean, I contacted San Diego, I contacted Michigan and Atlanta, and I think my mindset was just I want to be on the court.
Yeah.
And also it's like I had no job, and you know, I know that there's preseason that you have to go through. There are people already signed, and you know, they were asking for film, and I personally don't have film. I don't have film since 2017, and I think at that moment I was like, I want someone that just believes in me right away. Not that they didn't, but after that phone call, I'm just like, I hope someone just somehow loves me for me and maybe like what they think I can do on the court. And, you know, I talked to Atlanta and Michigan, but when I got on the phone with Michigan's head coach, I just fell in love with Kathy. And I think, you know, things can be sometimes transactional, but I just really liked how she enjoyed what I did off the court. And she was like, oh, I like, you know, your trip to Kenya. And we started talking and just about life. And I love when coaches, not are crazy personal, like in your life, but I do, I think a lot of players respect when they care about you, not just as the player, but as the person, you know, they want to check in on you and how things are going. And so right away I was like, I really like, you know, the vibe of this woman, you know, I just
you were like the
energy.
talk of the town so I went to the brand reveal, and then after the brand reveal, it was like a different just for women's sports party.
Oh yeah.
And we were talking about you there, and it was myself, the CEO, and Logan and stuff, and apparently you left quite the impression.
Well, I mean, I met Jen, I met Logan at AU because Kathy George, my coach, was flying into Athletes Unlimited. It was happening in Phoenix, so I flew out just to meet her and some of the girls, but they were awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed getting to watch the game and spend time with them.
So Michigan, are you familiar with the weather there?
Absolutely
the Midwest,
not.
baby.
No,
We got to get you a coat.
I feel like every time I talk,
Big coat, big poopy coat.
Listen, I'm a Midwest girl. I'm from Chicago. The winters there are going to be cold, but it's great. It's magical there.
Yeah.
The humans there in the Midwest. Are you familiar with the Midwest?
yeah, I feel like people are gonna be so nice.
You have no
like when you go
idea.
down the street and someone's like hello, and you're like not like here.
Yeah.
It's like absolutely like deflect.
Yeah,
You're like
no.
you're weird if you said hi to me. What's going on?
No, we are very welcoming people.
Yeah.
We are very talkative. Midwest. Yeah, there was like a huge culture shock when I moved from Chicago here. And it was San Francisco and then down here. But
Yeah,
you're going to love it.
gonna be-
It's amazing. Just get yourself a nice coat. Make sure
That's
you
what
have
they say,
chains
you know,
for your car and a shovel.
Well, at least I have a garage. So that's good. I know.
That's true.
But
yeah.
I know that I think a lot of people have, that's their first immediate reaction is, oh my gosh, it's gonna be cold. And I knew that it was gonna be cold. And I'm still probably gonna be shocked at how cold it is. Because I walk outside, I'm like, oh my God, it's a little chilly.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, no.
Just wait till it
Yeah,
drops
just
to the
don't,
negative.
that should not be in your vocabulary. But yeah, I think I didn't want the weather to stop me from experiencing something that could be really special. So I was like, I can get used to that.
Where in Michigan?
Grand Rapids.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice location.
I heard that's a small town.
It's nice there.
Yeah.
Cute.
I feel like is it like a little Hallmark town or?
I mean, I feel like all of the Midwest is pretty much.
Wait, so when do you report for?
So I report on December 30th, but we have like a mini camp, which is what San Diego was doing last weekend. So it's like a week long at the very first week of December. So like in 2 weeks.
And then how long does that go till?
It's just a week long. Yeah.
No, like your
Oh,
season.
the season.
The season,
Oh,
yeah.
it's just a week.
For listeners. What?
It's not a week long. It's actually so it starts. I think our first match is like January 23rd, 24th, and it goes through mid-May. So and then there's 7 teams, so you're traveling, playing each team twice at their place and vice versa. So but so I will be in San Diego twice.
I know.
So
I'll
get
see you
the
there.
warm weather.
We'll come watch you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please
for
do.
sure. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
We were talking just earlier before you came on.
Yeah.
The prize money is massive.
Yeah.
Just the way that they're investing in their athletes is a big deal.
Yeah.
Even down to the fact that I don't want to ruin the podcast that I just had with Logan and Jen.
Oh yeah.
But they talk about how even when it came down to the clothing line that they were the brand that they were going to partner with, they had athletes come out, try it on,
Right,
see how it they like it. They're
Yeah.
just so invested.
I know. I'm kind of interested if you know. It's okay if you don't. Obviously, is the business aspect of it, because obviously now you're part of this team, and where you had mentioned too before you came on, like in college you have NIL, so like you can rep these other brands, but then obviously the school is sponsored by this. So now with these pro teams, like, are you still able to maintain your sponsors that you have with beach volleyball, or do they conflict, or like kind of or is there an opportunity? Do your sponsors now see this as a great opportunity to transition into indoor?
I think it's a whole new transition. I think that's like what I'm, in the midst of conversations with my sponsors, and I think it is a massive opportunity for brands. I mean, just look at, this last college season alone, how many sold out stadiums there are. I think there's just a lot going on with indoor volleyball, which is great. But yeah, I think each team does have their own sponsor, but I do think that you're allowed to have sponsors on the side. You're not allowed to have it on your jersey, obviously, but I think there's a way to work it out. And but I just wanted to get my foot in the door. I'm grateful to have my foot in the door in this first year, and I think there's going to be a lot of questions, but hopefully answers at the end. But yeah, I can't really answer that right now.
Yeah.
Did you know that Blenders is a sponsor for San Diego Mojo?
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't know that, but it makes sense because Blenders is based in San Diego.
And their son there.
Yeah.
It's San Diego Mojo.
What did you?
Mojo.
What did you say?
I don't know. What did I say?
She whispered. She looked at me. She whispered, Mojo. Yeah, San Diego Mojo.
But yeah, it makes sense to have,
a San Diego based.
Well, just those local, like the local teams.
Yeah.
Will probably have sponsors eventually as it grows.
Yeah.
That just like the Lakers do, or the Dodgers, whatever it is.
But look at how amazing that is that like the difference so far between indoor and beach, which, I'm always going to be hard on the AVP because I feel like they can do better for their athletes. The fact that you guys are just going to stay quiet because I don't know if you guys are still in contracts or not with the AVP, but
well, there is an article out.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like the brands, right? The brands and the companies are partnering with the team, which means who makes up the team? The players. So like all the players are going to get benefits from that partnership as well.
Totally.
Which is life-changing.
And that's a benefit of being a part of a team in a city.
Yes. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah.
And I think it'd be interesting to get your opinion too on kind of what's happening with AVP next year with there's a Volleyball
East
magazine article.
West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About how kind of like there's going to be cities and teams that rep those cities and some sort of draft. Yeah.
I don't know much, probably more than what's come out. Right. But like if I had to sum it up, I feel like there's, four tournaments. And you have to be top 8 per gender, and then you go to a league, I don't know, September through November. Top 4 out of that goes to like a Thanksgiving Day championship final or something. But in this league, there might be, appearance fees. They pay for hotel and travel, and which is great. That hasn't been done in the past. So I think, well, first of all, this year is going to be, a lot of new changes. So we don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if, I think they are going into it like this is a big change and we hope, there's progress. But I foresee beach volleyball going down the road as more like PVF is you have cities, you have 5 pairs, kind of like college, you have 5 pairs, you all go and travel, and it's awesome. You get to bring back the team vibe, which I think a lot of, I've talked to several different people and they miss that. They really do. And I think it's, there's something so special about a team that it's lacking, you know, and we all love camaraderie. And you play fours and we had a fours tournament like a month ago, and just how everyone's personality, I love that. Everyone's personality just like comes out when they play fours, when they play sixes. It's amazing. It's like, even me, beach, you're just so steady. Like you can't be too high, you can't be too low. But I'm a trash talker. I just come out of the woodworks and I'm just a completely different person. Reeves and like you guys are probably too. Like you say things and I'm like, oh, I would never, said that, but you love egging people the fans too. It's all, that's why people want to come, is they want to be entertained as well. So I think maybe in these, you know, down the road, I don't know, 10 years down the road, when there hopefully is these cities, you can do like a men's team, a women's pairs. You could do fours. You could, you know, mix it. You could do so much with it. But it gets me excited because I think, you know, I mean, we're at the very bottom of what could be.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think with the new structure, I mean, we all know something needs to change. They know it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're going to see it just flourish, hopefully.
Cross our
Hopefully.
fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. And
Well,
we're
so you can't-
witnessing
10 years later.
Yeah,
bottom up.
we've talked about this on the podcast before. It's like, it's not going to be what it was back in the 80s. Like, that was its time. But now with all these leagues coming up, like, this could be something that we could touch on. It could be huge. It could explode. Like,
Right.
Well,
Or
with
what if
college
like,
volleyball,
yeah,
too.
there's so
what
much
if PVF,
uncertainty.
like all these teams had beach, like they had their own beach team. Like I mean, I'm not saying they could, maybe they would want to piggyback off of it. Who knows? But there's, the team
it's
is
another
what-
it's another avenue too for college players to then
Right.
get into. Like, it's like a feeder system.
Yeah,
if
for-
it does explode.
Yeah.
which
there's more positions
think it could.
too.
Yeah.
You
For
know,
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many opportunities.
Yeah, PVF they're really focused on bringing back home all of the women that play overseas. There's like around 300 female athletes that are
And they're
out.
also trying to get foreign players
Yes.
to come
Right,
over here.
yeah.
too.
Well,
Yeah.
they allow for 2 international per team.
Okay.
right.
So that's really cool too.
And like 2 from college. They do a college draft.
Yes, they do.
So, which is awesome because it feeds,
'Cause
you're
you-
allowing people to
Cycle
see,
in.
segue in. You
So
know?
is that something where you could be in the middle of your college eligibility and go play a spring, or is it when you like finish your senior season and then you could go play that spring?
I don't know if they've, I don't
I
know.
gotta fact check.
Jen Spiker.
Yeah, Jen, let's call Jen up.
Phone a friend. That's not a phone.
Can I put
Was
that?
that from like the 80s or like when we're just,
Operator. Ding, ding, ding.
I'm gonna put that as my ringtone.
But like, serious question: hot chocolate or coffee?
coffee, 100%.
Yeah. Moving on.
What is yours, hot chocolate or what's?
No, Americano, baby.
Really?
Yeah.
I got a new machine, so when you come over, we could test it.
We'll be hanging out over Thanksgiving break.
Let me know if you get rid of that old machine or
The other,
new
the other one, you need
I'll-
it for sure.
Yeah, I'll put myself on the list for that.
Let's go back to the team dynamics for a second.
Yeah.
And I feel like any of you guys, because I want this to be a discussion and conversation, especially for our listeners, our younger listeners who want to listen to this. What sort of key qualities do you believe contribute to to have a successful partnership, whether that's indoor or on the beach?
I don't know. The word like serve comes to my mind. I think best leaders are the ones that serve others, and that it's not about them. So being on a team, you know, I'm always quickly evaluating like what are they good at, what are they not good at. I'm not good at everything. You know, I'm good at some things, and like I said earlier, just trying to see how. It's kind of like a game. It's like, what do they need to be told just to feel encouraged? Or what do they need to be told, like, you know, when it's 24-24, like, how do I give them confidence? And it's so different for each person. But I love that. I love figuring that out and knowing what to say and how to say it and the tone during those games. It is kind of a game, but when you serve others and you pump them up and you encourage them, like it brings us all joy. And I think that's why sports is fun, because it gives us a chance to get our eyes off ourselves. When our eyes are on ourselves all the time, we just scrape at ourselves and we tear ourselves down all the time. But indoor is awesome because it gives you that split second in that huddle to be like, okay, this is what we're going to need to do. Great job, great pass. I got to do this. And it's just like a full team effort, you know? And, but yeah, I think the best people that serve where it's needed. And sometimes that's not being on the court. Sometimes that's not touching the ball all the time. But I think those are the teammates that you remember the most and that you love the most.
That's a good point, because I feel like a lot of the times people just assume that when they're playing, like that's when you're supposed to be providing your team encouragement when you're on the court, when it's literally like you said, a team contribution and dynamic. It's you're all helping out one another.
Yeah, I think for me, I always like to have a discussion with who I'm playing with. What does it look like when you're struggling, and what do you need in that moment?
Yeah.
So kind of to add on to that again is because some people look differently when they're struggling, and then some, like, I don't need somebody to be like, rah rah, you got this, or to be in my face like let's.
Yeah.
I know, sorry, beep it out. But like,
I'll beep it.
but you know,
Well, no, we'll do Kelly's little bleep, bleep,
yeah.
Breep, breep.
But I think it's really important to ask those questions and then talk about it after the fact too. So then you're having this constant streamline of communication, so that you're better able to like help each other in those moments and bring out the best in each other. So because that's the goal is right. Is I want to make you want to, like, what can I do to make you play your best?
I think to piggyback on that, I think the word that comes to me is like communication and clarity, like being open and honest, especially whether you're a beach athlete, like it's you and your other person, your teammate, like you spend a lot of time together. So you need to communicate, what are your needs? How are you feeling? Like you need to kind of let them in, but also understand like you might need space and they also have needs as well. I wrote down my qualities.
That's so cute.
Oh,
I said discipline, just being disciplined in the little things. I think that's super important.
Yeah.
Especially at the professional level, like you have to have that.
Yeah.
I said trust between your partner, your teammates. You got to know that they have your back in any situation. Like if you are in the tank and you just can't side out, your partner needs to help you to like lift you up and try and insert themselves there, and your coaches as well.
Yeah.
And then I said passion, because you got to play the sport you love. You got to do what you love. Come on.
Yeah.
And then, give yourself grace that you can do hard things.
Yeah.
So I think it takes courage to admit that. And those are my qualities, core values, words.
It's helping the other person become a better version of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you do that on the court and off the court? Yes, you raised your hand.
Me. Well, I think you need to know who your best version of yourself first to then help the person next to you or your teammates. Because if you don't know who you are, how can you shouldn't be focusing and worrying about the people around you. Like you got to take care of yourself first, understand what your needs are, have that relationship with yourself, and then serve your teammates, which I think is super important.
Thank you, Coach Reeves.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know. We got a coach up in here.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of time with Jenny Johnson.
I know.
Jordan.
And I mean, this is super applicable to real life relationships too, not just on the court.
Yeah.
Like having all of these qualities, all of these things we talked about. So
I think something that helps too is just like writing it down too, like journaling, or you can type it on your phone or your computer, but really spending time to reflect on it, I think is super important. Like being intentional with that and like understanding that process of like reflection, writing it down, and like really kind of look in the mirror, like who am I? What makes me tick? What makes me happy? When am I unhealthy? What do I do?
Yeah.
What motivates you guys, or what motivates you on a daily basis?
I think, well, right now, the next thing right now is for me is indoor. And I think right now I just have so much joy, and I have such an amazing opportunity that I didn't ever think that I would get. You know, I've always wanted to, play overseas, or not. Well, no, did not want to play overseas.
Let's get you to play overseas. Italian leagues.
No, yeah. I mean, like, I would have loved to play indoor professionally, but it was not. I would never go overseas, just because of family and everything.
Yeah.
But now waking up knowing that I am a part of a new team, I want to step into mini camp and into season knowing that I trained the hardest. I lifted as hard as I can, and I'm putting myself and my teammates in a good position to win. I think so much has changed for me. I would never have thought to be in this position right now. And I want to take that seriously, and I don't take the opportunity lightly. So, and I just want to see how good I can get. This is my first professional indoor season, and I don't know what I'm playing, so it's just extra training for me, and so yeah, I think that's what motivates me is, you know, and I think another thing is I get to now play in front of family. Like I get to play in front of my parents. They haven't been overseas in 6 years to see me play, and coming back and, you know, getting to play in Vegas and San Diego and closer places to Phoenix. Like that's what I like, is I would love to play in front of family. That's fun. And having a new nephew, it's like, I want him to be like, oh my gosh, like she's pretty cool, you know?
Cool aunt.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think, just seeing where this new journey takes me. I'm excited to just be a part of a team and see where I can be a good fit.
How do you take a bet on yourself, or how have you taken a bet on yourself?
I think I've, I don't know if it's a bet, but I've trusted God in this process. It's been scary. But I think I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I can do good things, whether that's beach and indoor, and I'm just ready for what God has me to do. And right now that's indoor, and I hope to make it back to the beach on the AVP. And so, I think I would never have thought I'd get an opportunity to pursue indoor. And so I think that's a bet, you know, not having played in 6 years and just knowing that I just need training. I just need practice, just like anything else. I think it's just hardwired into us at that point. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I think I want to end this podcast episode with Thanksgiving coming up, right? This is our Thanksgiving special here. We got a Mr. Turkey here. I just want to say real quick, like just what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for this podcast. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for taking a bet on me. Thank you to our listeners, our subscribers, supporters all around the world. We see your messages through the Instagram account. We see the emails that you're getting, where you're sending us, telling us how you're taking a bet on yourselves and how this podcast has inspired you. Thank you so much for that. Thank you to both of you for joining me as my co-host.
Thank you for believing in us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for being on this podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, and I mean, the mic's to you guys if you guys want to say anything at all. If not, we could just close it, but
Just super grateful.
Super thankful. Just dropping rhymes. No, it's been really fun to be a part of this journey and to see when we started and where we're going. And I can't believe we're almost in the new year, but I think our community has grown, and thank you for taking time to meet with us, as I know your schedule is going to ramp up. But for all of our guests that have been on this journey with us, we appreciate you. Yeah, we're super thankful for you. Like, we wouldn't be in the position we are today, and it's
and for everyone being vulnerable too, because that's powerful and scary, but it's also their voices are helping so many who listen. So
and that is did you have anything to add? Did you want to add anything?
I'm good.
Okay.
Well, I just want to thank you for bringing me on.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get you on for a while. You've just been so busy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been cool. I feel like I met you about a year ago at the Phoenix AVP, and just to see how far you've come on your podcast. And I mean, you're one of the hardest working people that I know. So, just to see the podcast, to see you travel the world with FIVB and doing the summit a couple months ago, I feel like the trend is up from here, and I'm just I'm grateful to be a part of it. I'm excited to see how much farther you go. And I think the sky's the limit at this point.
Yeah, we're hoping for big things in 2024. But thank you for Volleyball World people for bringing me on and taking care of me as well. Got to give those guys a shout out.
Yeah.
And that is the Bet on Her podcast.
And cut.
Woo!
Boop. Bing bong. I love saying it. I don't know why.